Guardian Raids are one of the content that become a big part of your daily grind once you reach level 50. You get various rewards that you can sell for gold to other players or use for your own progress within the game. If you are new to them, you may not know about a lot of the crucial things that will make your runs much easier, which will lead to a higher rate of success within this content. First of all, you can't use regular health potions within Guardian Raids, which are the ones that heal you over time that you can buy from the merchant for some silver. Basically the ones you've been using whilst leveling to 50. Instead, you will now have to start using HP potions that instantly heal you for a percentage of your health. The ones you hopefully have been hoarding whilst leveling. So make sure to drag them in your bar before you enter your first raid, and know that there is a limit of 5 HP potions as you go about hunting down the Guardians. Now 5 HP potions may sound very little since the bosses are quite tough, as you'll find out sooner rather than later, which is why it's good to know you can actually restack your potions anytime you want to. All you have to do is go back to the workshop at the start and your potions will automatically fill back up to 5 as long as you have enough. Speaking about the workshop, not only can you equip and refill consumables here, but you can also change your skills. So if you entered the raid with the wrong set of skills equipped, or you realize this at the start of your fight, you can always head back to the workshop and change them there. Other things you can do at the workshop are utilize the features of your pet to repair your items or access your storage. Now it's not like you're out of the battle the moment you die, as there are 3 life orbs that give you extra chances, but these are party-wide. If all 3 orbs are consumed and you die after, then it's GG for you. Perhaps your party can finish the job. Since Guardian Raids are some of the boss fights that you'll be doing on a consistent basis, you'll benefit enormously from having a skill page that's set up and dedicated for this type of content. Personally, I have an AoE and a single target page set up, and I use the single one whenever I do Guardian Raids among other content such as Abyssal Dungeons. Such a skill page will mostly be centered around single target damage, debuffs and party-wide utility, so that you do more damage against the bosses and have an easier time together with your party. I recommend you look up a raid or boss build guide for your class and use it as you do this content. Once you enter a Guardian Raid, you won't see where the boss is on the map, and you do have a timer for killing them. This is where the consumable item flag kicks in. Upon using this item, the location of the boss will be displayed to your entire party for 30 seconds. So only one person in your party has to use it whenever you want to reveal the location of the boss, which is great to do at the start of your raid and also when the boss enters the next stage, which is when they flee throughout the fight and reposition somewhere else on the map. If you don't use flash, you'll have to walk through the map and find the boss manually, which isn't the most effective way of doing things. Flasks are yet another consumable item that can be equipped on your hotbar together with your HP potions. And aside from HP potions and flasks, which are always good to have when doing Guardian Raids, some of the bosses have certain mechanics where you'll also benefit from having other consumables such as panaceas. The Guardian Raid Flame Fox Yoho, for example, will stack a fire debuff on you that will quickly add up and do a lot of damage over time, which you can remove by using a panacea. Then you also have offensive consumables such as grenades, which are needed with certain bosses to destroy their parts. An example would be the Guardian Raid Achates, where you can use destruction bombs to break his wings. The destruction bomb has weak point on it, which is the contributing factor of this consumable. And some of your skills will have weak point as well, which you want to use right after throwing the grenade. To know which consumables are useful and when, you can look up boss guides and prepare accordingly. Next, I want to talk about something I see a huge lack of during my Guardian Raids, which are counter attacks. Bosses in Lost Ark have certain attacks that make them glow blue at the start of the animation. This gives you a short window to counter their attack and knock them down, which basically means you'll win a couple valuable seconds for your party, where you can do a lot of free damage. In order to counter attack successfully, you have to meet 2 conditions. Firstly, you need to use an ability that has counter on it. An example would be Earth Cleaver, which is a very popular one for the Dead Blade. Secondly, you need to stand in front of the boss when doing the counter. It won't work if you stand to their side or in their back. Countering will take some time and practice to get used to, but is a very fun and rewarding mechanic that will add a lot of value to your party and make the raids much easier. It's also good to know that different Guardian raids have weaknesses to certain elements, which isn't really something that I've been taking into account as I went about doing my raids so far, but it is a feature that will help you do some extra damage and something that might become more important at some point. Now, I do like doing this content in groups because I simply find it way more fun that way, but there are days where I quickly want to be done with my dailies, which are the days when I do my raids solo, which is an option you have as well. Although the content is fun and challenging, it remains part of your daily grind, so it does become very repetitive at some point. So don't be afraid to solo them, as their health pool will scale based on the party size, allowing you to do this content on your own as well. This content is challenging and you may get stuck on specific Guardian raids from time to time. Of course, you can look up guides to learn about the mechanics, but you may still need a tiny bit of help to get over that last bit, which is where Party Finder becomes a huge asset to this content. When you click on matchmaking, the system automatically finds other players to group you up for a raid. However, if you click on the button next to it, which says Find Party, you will be able to select the group you would like to join, or you can even create one yourself. These groups typically have their wishes in the group description, such as no mechanics and bring consumables, which tends to lead to a much better party and raid experience. The Party Finder is also a great feature that allows you to group up with friends that play on other servers within the same region. So if you are playing in Terrain and your friends are playing in Zinefale, which are both Central Europe, you can still group up and do Guardian raids together by using the Party Finder feature. Another great thing about the Party Finder is that it allows you to queue up for content from anywhere. So instead of waiting at the Guardian raid board and doing nothing, you can actually join the party through Party Finder and continue doing quests and other stuff whilst waiting for your raid to pop. The reason people like to do Guardian raids not only on their main but also alt characters is because the items you get from clearing them are tradable, so you can sell them on the market and make some extra gold this way. Also cool to know is that if you go to the achievement window, you will see a category named Combat that has a subcategory named Guardian Raid. As you can see, there are quite some achievements to be completed for this content. Completion will grant you various rewards such as titles, roster experience and cards. Finally, anyone that is familiar with similar content in other games knows that you should prioritize health over damage, and this applies to Guardian raids as well. If you put an active effort in minimizing the damage you take, you will stay in the fight for longer, which leads to much more consistent DPS. You will also be using far less pots, which saves you a lot of gold over time. And that sums up my first guide for Lost Ark. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like and feel free to share it with your friends. Good luck on your journey and I'll see you next time.